What's up YouTube? This is Navan Gujral, and today this video is going to be about my presentation on my new chatbot that I created using natural language processing. Hope you enjoy the video. As I'm speaking, most of you can probably understand what I am saying, but completing simple tasks such as reading, writing, and speaking are so common for us to do that we barely have to think while doing it. But for a computer, it is not the case. They think more logically, and understanding language which is more abstract, it is harder for them to understand language. As a child, they need to learn how to do so. NLP is the way that computers can understand human language. There are two main types of natural language processing. The first is text-based processing. Text-based processing is where the computer receives some text, tries to understand it, and then gives a response accordingly. While speech-based processing is where the computer receives some sound waves and then tries to understand that. NLP has become more available now that almost everyone has some form of it. They are in so many different devices such as phones, computers, and virtual assistants. And they impact so many different fields such as healthcare and customer service. For my replicate, I created a chatbot that uses the seek-to-seek training model. And this chatbot can have a positive conversation while both asking questions and responding to questions. So how does this work? First, let's imagine it takes a sentence. What does a sentence mean? And then what we'll do first is it will split the sentence into the individual words, like what and does. Then it will take each of the words and then place them into the input of each of the neural networks. Each of the green boxes represent a neural network, and all of these neural networks are connected by these lines called synapses. Synapses are used to carry signals from one neural network to the other. They contain weights, which determine which signals are the most important. This first part is called the encoder. Then all of the signals from the encoder get carried into the EOS. The EOS stands for the end of the sentence and signifies when the sentence is over, and it then carries the signals to the decoder. The decoder's main purpose is to give an output to what the encoder's input was. The EOS and the decoder have two places where the output goes. The first place is to the overall sentence, which is at the top. And then the word also goes to the next neural network's input, so it can make sure that the words connect with each other. The way it does that is by figuring out the highest probability that the word is going to show up next. But the chatbot does not know how to do this right away. It needs to learn how to do so. The way how I used my chatbot was I trained it using movie lines. For example, let's take these two lines from Bianca and Cameron, and the question that Cameron asked is she okay? And then the response is I hope so. What the chatbot will first do is take the individual words, split them up, put them into the encoder, and then go to the EOS. But then what the decoder's job now is try to guess what should be the output. After it guesses the output, it will then compare the output to what the actual answer is supposed to be. And then it'll figure out the error that it made in answering the question. The way it does that is by finding out the cost function. The cost function determines what is the error that took place. If there is no cost function, that means the chatbot got the answer correct. But if there is, that means it got something wrong. So it will then feed it back through this training model and then change itself so it can fit the error. So let's imagine there's this child learning from a teacher. The teacher asked the student, what is the capital of the United States? And if the student says by saying the capital is New York, but the teacher says no, it is Washington, D.C. The student will then try to figure out what he made wrong in answering the question. He got this and is correctly, but then he realizes that he got New York and Washington, D.C. mixed up. So when the child is asked a question the next time or some similar question, he can answer it correctly. And this is basically how it works. The seek-to-seek training model is not only used for chatbots, it is used in so many other applications as well, such as a translator, where it translates which takes a sequence of words and translate it into a sequence of words into a different language. It can also be used in closed captions, where it tries to understand the voice to give a description to it. It is also used in virtual assistants, where it tries to understand the voice and then give a response to it. The seek-to-seek training model is really powerful in that instead of just NLP alone, it is both NLP and deep learning combined. NLP is changing the way that humans connect with other humans and how we connect with computers. NLP can go so much more in the future in that it can affect how it can change how we search. Instead of just searching for words, keywords, we can search for the meaning, and can change in. It can also change in how we in customer service, where to make it more reliable and more faster. Thank you. Thanks for watching the video, and if you liked it, please like the video, and if you're new, please consider subscribing to the channel. Thanks for watching, and see you guys next time.